Hey folks, welcome back to the Nate Carlisle Show, where today we're going to go over how failing has made me millions, how failing has catapulted my learning to levels that success could have never done so. And this is going to be such a great topic that we need you to go ahead and subscribe and like and share this with your friends and whoever is scared of failing, because you should never be scared of failing. Look, when I first started my business, I started with framing a single house with just me and one other individual. It took us about 2 weeks to frame the first house. And we had so many troubles in that first house, just what you would call fail after fail. But I'll tell you what, the parts that I failed on that house, I never repeated those failures because it was such a dramatic situation where you remembered it so well, and you learned what not to do, and you learned what to do through failing, through learning the consequences of not doing it. So the next house, it was almost near perfect, except for, guess what? Because I was so successful on some of the parts of the first house, I didn't know that what I did successful, I needed to make sure I did. So I failed on things that I didn't fail before. So I would argue that failing, learning from your failures, learning what not to do from other people, other organizations is more important than what to do, learning what to do. I tell people all the time, because a lot of times I'll get questions like, what did you learn from your previous jobs before you started Tecton? And I have to say, 75% of what I learned from other companies and my experiences prior and even during Tecton framing was what not to do. Because learning what not to do, if you'll focus on your peers, if you'll focus on different companies, and you'll only focus on what not to do, what not to do to get the reactions of what they're getting. For instance, if some people don't like working for a company that you're working for, dive deep into why that person doesn't like working there, and you'll learn as your future business owner, you will learn what not to do to be able to retain more employees. And so I've learned so much, and I'm not afraid to fail. I'm afraid to not fail. I am afraid that I won't take action, and I'm not so worried about the outcome. We all want the great outcome. We all want success in every scenario. But so many people allow the fear of failure to stop them from even taking the first step. And that's why it's so important for you to get in your head that failures are they're the most, you retain more knowledge and more remembrance on the scenarios when you fail than you ever will when you succeed. So don't be afraid of failures. I remember one time I was on a big project. It was one of my first larger projects. And that project, we were set up for failure from the beginning. And I knew that. I knew that going into it. I made the rounds and talked with people that knew the project, and I knew it was going to be a frustrating project. And I didn't let it scare me. We failed so many times throughout that project, and the whole thing wasn't a failure because of this mindset. Because I knew that by by choosing to go into this project and standing up and actually paying to do the project in the end, where we lost money on the project, and I knew the chance of us doing that was very high. I chose to do it anyway because I needed that experience. And that project earned us millions off of people getting to know us, because it was a high-profile project in the middle of St. George, Utah here, and we we were able to get a lot of projects based on our ability to finish that project. And we paid money to do so. And if I would have been afraid to fail, if I would have been afraid to pay a little money to do that project, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And there's so many things I love getting in rooms where there's people talking about. And then for instance, in January, I went to a business boot camp. I'm already doing multiple 8 figures a year. And there's not much about a small business that you could teach me, but I chose to go to this business. Why? Because I want to start giving back, and I want to help people. I want to help people build their future, build their visions. And so I went there with the intent to watch and learn from the people giving the seminar on what not to do. And what I was doing is I wasn't asking any questions. I was watching what they were saying. I was watching what they were doing. And then I was just casually looking around to the audience and seeing the engagement rate. And so, and what I learned was so much what not to do. They're not going to do another business boot camp because their success rate was so low, like their attention rate was so low. But I learned so much what not to do, especially going into that market. You've got to learn the ins and outs of what to do and what not to do. So this is going to be a short episode, guys, but I want you to be very, very keen on not being afraid of failure. Failing will catapult you to the top faster than success. And especially standing up. Stand up and admit that you're failing. Admit that you need help. Admit that you're not what you thought you were. People love helping you out. And if you will admit that you need help, if you'll admit that you need to learn more, people will step in droves to help you out. But if you come in boasting that you're only successful and you don't ever fail, people number one, they don't fucking believe you, because nobody doesn't fail. And they're not going to engage with you, because what value, if it's true that you don't fail and you're always successful, what value can they add? Emotionally, they can't add anything. And everybody gives back on emotions. Everybody gives help because it feels good. It feels good to help. A lot of people figure out how to monetize helping you out, but hey, everybody loves helping you out. For me, I love helping people out. I love being that person that shows someone how to fulfill their dreams. It's fun to me. I have a lot of value, and whoever's going to allow me to help them out is going to make a lot of money in their lives. Their lives are going to be so much better. But I love doing it because I've gone through what not to do. And most of the time when my mentees are asking me questions and I'm giving them value, it's because I learned what not to do and I'm giving them that knowledge. More of what I give to my people is what not to do. And the consequences based on if they do that. Instead of do this, do that. Well, it's why do you do this? Why do you do that? You know, but if it's a failure you're expressing, if you're telling someone they're going to fail and they're going to lose millions and millions if they do this, then that puts a little more perspective on why they need to do it the right way instead of the wrong way. And I wouldn't know all that knowledge if it wasn't because I failed. If it wasn't because I was in the room and watched the failures. It is so damn important to don't be afraid of failing. With that, guys, I'm going to leave it to just a short, nice episode today. Remember, if you got to the end of this episode, go ahead and like and share this, and we'll see you next week.